You know, it's been wild to see AI chatbots go from just spitting out words to something that almost feels like you're actually having a conversation with another person.
It really is amazing how far they've come.
Yeah, and today we are going all in on a fascinating new player that's causing quite a stir. It's called Grok AI, developed by, you guessed it, Elon Musk's XAI.
I think a lot of people are saying this could be the next level of AI intelligence.
Yeah, potentially, and we've both been digging through everything we can find about Grok, and what jumps out right away is that they're really trying to do something different from all the other big AI models out there.
Definitely your sources highlight those ambitions really clearly.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do today is cut through all the hype and try to understand what truly sets Grok apart, what it can actually do, and how it stacks up against the heavyweights like ChatGPT and Gemini.
That's a tall order.
It is, but I think we can handle it.
I think so too.
So where do we even begin with this whole Grok thing?
I think to really exhaust what Grok is going for, it helps to take a quick step back and look at how far AI chatbots have come.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. A little history lesson.
Exactly right. We've seen this incredible acceleration in how sophisticated these things are becoming.
Absolutely. I mean, look at the big names right now, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. They're constantly pushing the boundaries, showing us what AI can really do.
And they're already doing some pretty mind-blowing stuff.
Right. And that's precisely why Grok's arrival is so interesting, because they're claiming to be doing things differently.
Exactly. It makes you wonder, is this just the usual tech hype, or are we actually witnessing a real evolution in AI? What do you think based on what we've read?
Honestly, from what I've seen, there's definitely something unique about Grok, but we need to get into the nitty-gritty here. What exactly is Grok AI?
At its core, Grok is the brainchild of XAI, Elon Musk's AI company, which he started just last year.
Right, 2023.
Yeah. And right from the beginning, the goal was to create something different, both in how it works and its personality.
Okay, now this whole personality thing keeps popping up in the material we've been reading. What exactly does that mean?
Well, it seems like Grok is engineered to be witty, to actually have a sense of humor and even a bit of a rebellious streak.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're really trying to move away from the neutral, fact-based approach that you see in a lot of other big AI models.
So you're telling me that if I ask Grok a question, I might get a joke or a sarcastic comment along with the actual answer?
That seems to be the idea, which is a pretty wild concept for an AI.
It is. It is. And remember, Musk himself said he wants Grok to have a bit of sarcasm to make it feel more human.
That's right. And don't forget about its integration with X, formerly Twitter, which seems to be a huge advantage for Grok because it has access to up-to-the-minute information.
Right. It's like having a direct pipeline to everything that's happening in the world right now.
Exactly. News as it breaks, trending discussions, public sentiment, the whole nine yards. And keep in mind, Grok is a serious project. They're using XAI's most advanced generative AI models to power this thing it's built to compete head-to-head with GPT-4 and Gemini.
Okay, so we've got a decent idea of what they're going for with Grok, but how does it actually work? How does it pull off this real-time access and this whole personality thing?
Okay, so the real-time access is a big part of what sets Grok apart. Most AI models are trained on these massive data sets of information that are basically frozen in time.
Right, it's like a snapshot of the world at a certain point.
Exactly. But Grok can actually tap into the constant stream of data flowing through X, which means it can give you answers that are incredibly up to date.
So if I want to know about something that just happened 5 minutes ago, Grok is the AI to ask.
That's the idea, and that can be super valuable if you're trying to understand something that's rapidly changing, like a breaking news story or the latest scientific research.
But one of our sources have pointed out that this real-time access isn't all sunshine and rainbows, right?
Absolutely. There are some potential downsides to consider, the biggest one being that the data Grok is getting from X isn't always going to be reliable or accurate.
Oh, right, because anyone can post anything on X.
That's right. And it means Grok might end up encountering misinformation biases, all sorts of problematic stuff, and it's a much more chaotic environment than a carefully curated data set.
Yeah, you're basically giving your AI a direct feed from the Wild West of social media.
Exactly. And it's a big gamble, but from a technical standpoint, Grok actually relies on a pretty familiar framework. It uses deep learning and what are called transformer-based architectures, which are basically super complex networks that can learn patterns from tons of data.
Okay, so that part isn't revolutionary.
Not really. A lot of advanced AI models use those same basic building blocks. The real innovation with Grok is how they're using the data and how they're implementing this humor engine.
You know, I still can't get over that humor engine. That's just wild to me.
I know, right? It's not just about retrieving facts and presenting them. It's about understanding the nuances of language and humor and actually being able to create jokes and sarcastic responses that's incredibly complex for an AI to do.
So they must be training it on a ton of humorous and sarcastic content.
Most likely that, and then developing algorithms that help it figure out when it's appropriate to use that kind of language.
So imagine you're having a conversation with Grok and it answers your question and then throws in a playful jab or a sarcastic remark. It completely changes the dynamic.
Exactly. It's a much more interactive and potentially unpredictable experience, and that's a huge part of how Grok is trying to differentiate itself.
Now, for the main event, how does Grok actually stack up against the big boys, ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude?
Okay, let's break it down.
All right, so the first big difference, and we've touched on this already, is the whole real-time learning thing. ChatGPT, especially in its earlier versions, was mainly working off of this massive data set that was set at a specific point in time.
Yeah, its knowledge was basically frozen.
Right, but Grok, with its live data access, can theoretically stay on top of things as they happen.
Precisely so. If you need information about something that just happened or is currently developing, Grok could have a serious edge.
Okay, and then there's the whole humor and personality factor. This is where Grok really goes out on a limb, right? ChatGPT and Claude, they generally try to maintain a pretty neutral and objective tone.
Yes, very much the straight man.
Exactly, but Grok is actively trying to be funny and isn't a little bit sarcastic, and one of our sources specifically mentioned this fun mode.
Yes, the fun mode, it's a deliberate choice they're making to make Grok more engaging, more human-like.
But it's a risky move, right? Humor is so subjective, and it could backfire spectacularly.
Absolutely. There's always the chance that Grok's humor will fall flat or even offend people. But it certainly makes it stand out from the crowd and raises a lot of interesting questions.
Like, what if people start to underestimate the AI's limitations because they're too busy laughing at its jokes?
Exactly. Or what if Grok delivers some serious information with a sarcastic tone and people misinterpret it? There's a lot to consider there.
And then we have the integration with X, which seems like a huge advantage for Grok.
Agreed. It's not just about accessing information. It's about being part of this massive ongoing conversation that's happening in real time.
So Grok can tap into the pulse of what people are talking about right now and potentially identify emerging trends way earlier than other AI models.
Exactly. But as we mentioned earlier, there are some potential pitfalls with relying so heavily on X data. Critics are worried about inconsistencies and biases creeping in.
Yeah, and those are valid concerns. The quality of information on social media can be all over the place, so it'll be interesting to see how XAI handles that.
I agree. It's a big challenge now in terms of the competition. ChatGPT, especially with GPT-4, is known for being incredibly accurate and for being able to have conversations that feel very natural and fluid.
Like you're talking to an actual person.
Almost. And GPT-4 has shown that it can handle some pretty complex reasoning tasks and generate really high-quality text on a wide range of topics.
It's definitely set a high bar.
It has. And then you have Gemini, which is making waves with its multimodal capabilities, meaning it can process different types of information at the same time, like text and images.
That's a game changer.
It is, and actually our sources indicate that Grok has also developed multimodal understanding. It can process text and visual information too.
So it's not just a text-based AI anymore.
That's right. They're moving beyond that, which puts it in direct competition with Gemini on that front.
Wow, so this is a rapidly evolving landscape. Okay, so we've talked about real-time learning, humor, personality integration with X. What other advantages does Grok bring to the table?
Well, one of the sources highlighted its advanced reasoning capabilities. It seems like Grok is able to tackle complex problems and exhibit some pretty impressive logical reasoning skills.
So it's not just a parrot regurgitating information from X, it actually has some serious cognitive abilities.
That's what it seems like, and it's interesting because it suggests that Grok's intelligence goes beyond its access to real-time data. It has a strong foundation to build on.
And you mentioned earlier that Grok has these two modes, the regular mode for factual responses and the fun mode for humor.
That's right. It's a clever way to cater to different user needs. Sometimes you just want a straight answer, and other times you might appreciate a little bit of wit.
Absolutely. It gives people more control over their interactions with Grok, and our sources listed a whole bunch of things Grok can supposedly do: generating text, summarizing documents, writing code, creating images, even fact-checking.
Yeah, it's a pretty impressive toolbox. It's definitely positioning itself as a versatile AI assistant that can handle a wide variety of tasks, just like its main rivals.
And the fact that it could be integrated with augmentation tools opens up even more possibilities.
Absolutely. It could be used in so many different ways.
So what does the future hold for Grok AI? What are some of the things we should be keeping an eye on?
Well, Elon Musk has hinted at some pretty intriguing future upgrades. Apparently, they're working on even more advanced reasoning capabilities and greater personalization, so Grok would be able to tailor its responses to individual users.
Like it gets to know you and how you like to interact.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the most exciting possibilities is integrating Grok into Tesla vehicles.
Whoa, can you imagine having an AI that's constantly connected to the internet and has a sense of humor as your co-pilot?
It would completely change the driving experience. You'd have real-time traffic updates, on-demand answers to any questions you have, Maybe even some witty commentary along the way?
It would be like having a super intelligent friend in the passenger seat.
Exactly. And then there's the even more futuristic idea of integrating Grok with Neuralink.
Okay, now that's where things start to get really mind-blowing.
I know, right? A direct brain-computer interface with an AI like Grok opens up a whole new world of possibilities, although it's still very much in the realm of science fiction at this point.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet, but it's fascinating to think about.
Absolutely. So to sum it all up, it seems like Grok AI, even though it's still in its early stages, is already making a big splash in the conversational AI world.
I think that's fair to say. Its focus on real-time information, its unique personality, and its growing multimodal capabilities make it a serious contender.
And it'll be fascinating to see how it evolves over time.
Absolutely. Now, we can't say for sure whether it's going to overtake ChatGPT and Gemini. This whole AI race is a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly, but Grok has definitely emerged as a major player, and it's shaking things up.
What's particularly interesting to me is how different Grok's approach is compared to some of the other AI models out there. Some developers are really prioritizing accuracy and neutrality.
Right, they want their AI to be like a perfectly objective information source.
Exactly, but Grok is going in a totally different direction. They're experimenting with personality and humor, and that's a huge gamble.
It is, and it raises some really fundamental questions about the future of AI. What role will personality play in how we interact with these technologies, and what are the potential consequences of that?
Those are really important questions to be thinking about.
They are, and it makes you wonder if personality will become the key differentiator between AI models in the future.
It's a fascinating thing to consider.
It is. All right. So for everyone listening, here's something to ponder. What are your thoughts on Grok? Do you think its unique combination of real-time data and personality is a step in the right direction for AI? Or do you think the focus on humor and social media data might ultimately hold it back?
It's a really interesting debate, and we want to hear your thoughts.
Definitely, this is a conversation that's just getting started.
Absolutely, and on that note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us as we explored the world of Grok AI. It's been a wild ride.
It has, and we'll be keeping a close eye on how this all unfolds.
Definitely, this is just the beginning.
It is.
Until next time.
See you then.